What's up, dogs and all kids? Welcome to Week 11, the NFL football picks against the spread and straight up with your boy Hardcore 25 and Fitz Canada here as always. How is it going, Fitz?
Hey, going well. We've got a good game coming tonight, Saints and Panthers. One of the better games this week, honestly. There are quite a few good team versus bad team games that aren't that interesting this week.
Yes, and this was a thriller about 6 weeks back where the Saints won at 41-38 in the Superdome. So we'll see if we get some fireworks this week.
Yep.
All right, so let's go over my last week results, which were terrible, to say the least. I was 6-8 win-loss straight up, 4-10 versus the spread. Just absolutely terrible again. 78-68-2 win-loss overall. 61-83-4 versus the spread. Just, I don't think I'm ever going to be at 500 this year. I just got to try and win a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So
maybe a bit
good.
too late, but keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I won $100. If I win 1 week, that will pay for the entire year, and I'm not.
Still got like
it.
7 chances to do that, right? Or
Yes,
8?
7.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So if I win and get a second place or 2 second places in the next couple weeks, I mean that'll do it. That'll do it. So that's why I
Break
keep
even.
playing.
That's the
You
goal.
never know. But yeah, Fitz last week was 7-7 straight up, 77-69-2 overall. So I'm up 1 game on you straight up.
okay.
Against the spread, though, you were 6-8. You beat me by 2 games. That put you at 68-78-4. So you're only 10 games under 500, whereas I'm 22.
Bit of a difference.
Yeah, a little bit. And my math might not be right. Let's
Still
see,
mad that the Saints lost that game last week.
Oh my
What a
god, and
disgusting
how they
ending.
won, yeah.
He stepped out. It's so obvious. I can't believe. I understand the whole conclusive evidence thing, but they have to use logic too at some point. You could see half his foot in bounds. That's correct.
Uh-huh.
The other half,
Yeah. You there?
couldn't clearly see. Half his foot is in. Where's the other half have to be? It has to be out. Just because it's white on white and you can't line, like, that doesn't change physics.
Oh, I did not see the replay, but I heard them talking about it all week. And yeah, it was I looked at it and it does look like his foot is on the line. He's got a white shoe, but I mean, it looked like his foot was on the line. I don't know. I'm just very surprised they overturned that.
Yeah.
So, all right, but the coin had a 4-10 week last week as well. So bad coin. 41, 44, and 3 overall. Let's jump into the game because it's going to be starting in about 15 minutes here. So let's make sure we get into the games before they start, and then we could have like random updates throughout the pick cycle here. So Carolina is favored by 3.5 points this week, visiting New Orleans Saints. Now, Carolina, I'm looking at some of the stats right now. The last 3 weeks, their defense has really improved. I mean, they've allowed 20, 10, and 17 points. Not the best offenses they're facing, but before that, they allowed 21, 27, 22, 48, 17, and 41. So they really dropped their points, and I think they're just coming around a little bit better. They're playing stronger. They're a second-half team normally, and they should have won and covered last week. They're up 17-0 and then lost to the Chiefs. Cam Newton threw that awful pick. But I got Carolina winning and covering this week. I just think Drew Brees on the road is not going to be as good as he was in the Dome against the Panthers. And I think with the team getting healthy, Cam Newton is going to light it up tonight.
Well, the Chiefs sure made him look silly when he went and did his dab and then ends up losing the game with just a awful interception. Meanwhile, the Saints should have won that game. Again, like, that ending was just stupid. Yeah, the Carolina defense has been improving, but if Cam is not going to be playing like the MVP that he was last year, the MVP caliber that he was, I don't think that they're good enough to win games against a high-scoring team like the Saints. I mean, the Denver defense didn't really shut them down per se. So I don't think that the Panthers defense is going to either. Again, only one game this year they've been held to under 20. I think one they were held under 20, and I think every other game they've scored at least like 24. And it's hard to beat a team that puts that much points up every week. And Carolina only put up 17 last week. Their offense is not getting it done at all. So I'm going to go with the Saints to win and cover here.
All right, yeah, it was against the New York Giants where they only put up 13 points and ended up losing. So.
That's right. Every other game they put up over 20. I think at least 24.
Yeah, it was Kansas City with 21 and then Denver last week 23, but the rest are 25 and above. So
yeah, it's several 30 plus.
All right, well, the coin agrees with you. It is going to New Orleans as well. Let's move on to the Sunday games. The 0-10 Cleveland Browns against the visiting Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers favored by 9 points. Not going to spend too much time on this one. Roethlisberger looked healthy last week. I think he finally is back into the flow of the game. That fake spike for a touchdown was awesome. Just an amazing game. I feel like they should have won the game. But, man, Ezekiel Elliott and that offensive line just taking over. Unbelievable. But Pittsburgh on the road here. Cleveland's so bad. They don't know who they're going to start at QB. They don't have a good running game per se. Corey Coleman's back and Terrell Pryor Sr. I mean, they're good receivers, but they're not great. And the defense isn't great. Antonio Brown has owned Joe Hayden in the past. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh to win and cover this one. Not going to read too much into it. Cover an easy 2-touchdown win.
Yeah, same with you. Pittsburgh to win and cover, but let's just take a moment to appreciate how Cleveland can somehow, the Browns franchise, somehow manage to seemingly keep getting worse over the years. I mean, when's the last decent season they had? You're going back to Derek Anderson and Braylon Edwards.
Well, they had a 10-6 season, in I think 2010.
I think they made the playoffs. Is that right?
No, they missed out with that 10-6 record. They made the playoffs in 2002, I remember.
Okay, because the season with Derek Anderson and Braylon Edwards, I think they were both Pro Bowlers that year, like out of nowhere. And since then, everything's just getting worse. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of entertaining as a non-Browns fan, I gotta say. And we're all rooting for them. We all want them to be a good team eventually.
Yeah.
So as much as I'd love to see them beat Pittsburgh, not gonna happen.
No, and they got a string of L's here, and I think they're gonna keep adding to it. So let's go to the next game. The coin picked Pittsburgh also. So now we're moving on to the fun games. Dallas favored by 7 points against the visiting Baltimore Ravens. Now Baltimore is sporting the best all-around defense in the league right now, but that's also with who they have played. Let's take a look at who they've played. Okay, Buffalo, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Oakland, Washington, Giants, Jets, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. So they played some good teams with some good offenses. Pittsburgh, obviously, Roethlisberger wasn't that healthy. Washington only put up 10 points. Oakland put up 27. So their defense has been holding it in there. But, I mean, let's take a look at the offensive line of Dallas. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott has 1,000 yards already. Had that 83-yard screen pass in the first quarter for a touchdown. That team is just doing everything right. They don't turn the ball over. And Baltimore is just, Joe Flacco's not the same after that ACL. I gotta go Dallas to win and cover this one. I'm not gonna try and convince myself that Baltimore is a 7-point as good a team in Dallas as the 7 points are showing.
I'm gonna go Dallas to win and cover 2. Although Baltimore, their defense has definitely earned my respect this year. The Bengals still have them to play twice, so I'm looking forward to those games. I think that the Bengals can win them, but.
They got a real tough schedule coming up. Real tough.
Yeah, I'm also pretty sure that the Bengals can lose to just about anybody at this point in the year. But I think those games will at least be competitive, whoever wins. So, when you're a fan of a losing team, that's all you can hope for is a good close game. But Jesus Christ, losing by 1 point Monday sucked.
Oh my God, that was terrible.
Yeah. Going back to Baltimore though. Their defense has impressed me. Respect to the defense. I think though the offense just keeps proving that Flacco is like the most horribly overpaid quarterback ever. Like Brock Osweiler and him should be buddies because it's just not that good. He can throw it far, and that's about it. I don't know, maybe he should scramble more. I feel like when he was a rookie, he did a lot of scrambling and it worked for them. He doesn't seem to do that very much anymore. He's a big guy, so I don't know. But
well,
gotta go
yeah,
with
and
Dallas here.
after that leg injury, I don't think he's gonna scramble too much. And plus,
Yeah.
he had a unbelievable defense those first like 5-6 years he was on
Exactly.
the team. So
Yeah, and as good as the defense is this year, it's not that good. And speaking of Dallas, I feel like some people have thrown Ezekiel Elliott in the MVP conversation, and maybe even Prescott even, and not to take anything away from those two, but and it's never going to happen, but if it were my choice, I'd be tempted to give the MVP to the whole Dallas O-line, because that has
Yeah.
to be legitimately one of the best O-lines in the history of the game.
yeah, it's
They have-
incredible.
They have maybe currently the best center in the league, Zach Martin, one of the best guards, Tyrod Smith, one of the best tackles. Like, it's unbelievable how good they are. They just manhandle lines every week, and I expect this to be the same against Baltimore.
Yep, and the coin agrees too. But I'm just looking at Baltimore's upcoming schedule. Now listen to this. They're not winning the division. Dallas, Cincy, Miami, New England, Philly, Pittsburgh, Cincy.
Yeah, they're gonna be lucky to get 3 wins in those games.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. But let's go to the next game. Detroit at home, favored by 6.5 points against the visiting Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Detroit is just a Jekyll and Hyde type team. I mean, they won in Minnesota last week, 22-16, but they lost at Houston 13-20. They beat Washington 2017. They lost to Chicago 14-17. You know, it's just, what type of team are they? And they're 5-4. They're pretty much exactly what their record shows. Jacksonville is just, God, Bortles is really bad, and I heard rumors that Romo would be a good fit there. But I don't think Jacksonville's that bad as their record shows. I don't think they're going to win, but I got Jacksonville covering the spread in this one. I just think Detroit plays to the level of competition that they go against, and they don't blow anybody out, and they'll keep Jacksonville in this game. So give me Jacksonville to cover, Detroit winning.
Well, before getting into this game, you mentioned Romo might be a good fit in Jacksonville, and I've heard rumors too of teams that will be interested in him. Seems like it's inevitable that he'll be playing elsewhere next year, because you have, it looks like you got a franchise guy, and you don't go away from a franchise guy who's like 24 maybe at oldest. Prescott's the Cowboys guy going forward, so
Yeah.
Romo's gonna be elsewhere. There are a lot of teams that need quarterback. You got Cleveland, you got Chicago are the obvious ones, but I think if you're Chicago, you got to draft a guy, you got to go young. I think the best situation personally I could see Romo in is the New York Jets. I think if you had a guy like Romo to that team, they could instantly become a playoff contender next year. So that's where I would like to see him go. But I think Jacksonville is also the same situation. I think if he were to go to Jacksonville, give that team another year to get things together, see some player growth.
Yeah.
That could also bring the team together. So either the Jets or the Jags, I think, is an okay fit for Romo next year. But going back to the Jags now against Detroit, I am going to go with Detroit to win and cover. Things just aren't working in Jacksonville, and as Jekyll and Hyde as the Lions are, like you said. And I know you would love to see them lose because they are currently the champions of that division.
Oh, yeah. Champions.
Well, let's look at it. We know Minnesota's not winning the division, and the Packers have yet to show that they can't win the division. The Packers are really, they've been just as Jekyll and Hyde as the Lions have been.
Yeah,
So-
they've been more Hyde for sure.
Yeah, they've been more Hyde. I'm going to go with Matt Stafford in this game. Simple as that. He's going to put up points. Look for Detroit to put up at least 24, and I think that's going to be enough to win because I don't think Jacksonville's putting up more than 24.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm looking at Jacksonville's games, and there's only 3 games on their schedule where they've lost by more than 4 points.
That's interesting.
San Diego, Oakland, and Tennessee.
And those are all good teams.
Yep.
San Diego, but
so that's what I'm going off of. They hang around, they lose, but they hang around.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I like the idea of the Lions now that they're in the driver's seat in that division. I think the leadership of that team, Stafford, coach, I think they're gonna put a big emphasis on taking control and winning the games like this that they need to. So I think they're gonna put the foot down and finally put up a lot of points.
Very nice. All right. Well, the coin goes Detroit as well. So let's move on to the next game. Indianapolis favored by 3 points at home against the Tennessee Titans. Now, I watched these two teams firsthand. Indianapolis, they're good. I mean, they beat Green Bay in Green Bay, but it's more like Green Bay beat themselves. Tennessee beat the Packers last week. They just absolutely tore them up. I mean, it was 35-10 at half, and it was gross to watch. It was it's just something that I don't normally witness with my team. That being said, I think Tennessee is the better all-around team. I think they got a better defense. They got a better defensive front. They got a better O-line. Indianapolis O-line is terrible. But, I mean, this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I got Tennessee winning and covering 31-28 over Indy in Indy this week.
Also going Tennessee to win and cover. They look like the real deal. Mariota looks like the real deal. We know that they've got DeMarco Murray is the real deal running. The offensive line is looking quite good, and I think they're quite young too for the most part. So that could be a group that stays together for quite a few years. I mean, they've got a hell of a nice core. And the defense, I don't know too many specific players, but as a unit, they've performed very well. Look no further than last week against Green Bay. So this is a complete team, legitimately complete team, and you can't say the same for the Colts. They're far from that. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee to win and cover. And yeah, last week against the Packers was just what the heck happened. I saw the score in like the second quarter or something. It's like, what the heck is happening?
Well, when you're down 7 points, you're down 7 points after the first play of the game for Tennessee. 75-yard run to DeMarco Murray. Wow. It's like, it's going to be one of those days again.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of know that feeling of watching the Bengals play the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys scored on like their touchdowns on like their first 3 possessions, and just like I said, that O-line was just manhandling Cincinnati, and yeah, that sucks to watch as a fan. It sucks.
Yeah, but it happens. So let's go on to the next game. We just mentioned the Bengals. They are favored by 4 at home against the Buffalo Bills. Now, Cincinnati, their defense isn't as strong as last year. I think they're really missing Mohamed Sanu and Marvin Jones. Eifert coming back has definitely helped a lot. I mean, he had a big catch on that first play of the game on Monday night.
Yep.
I think they're going to do enough to win, but 4 points is a little much for me. I think they're playing very close games. Check out their schedule. I mean, they lost by a point. They tied. They won by 14. They lost by a ton to New England and Dallas, but Miami. I mean, these are all pretty close games here. So I got to pick Cincinnati to win, but not cover the spread this week.
Okay, I'm going to go with Cincinnati to win and cover because I have nothing to lose. Screw it. I'm going.
Your Super Bowl pick.
I just want to see them break out. Well, no. I had them in the AFC Championship, not the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right.
New England.
I thought you had them in the Super Bowl.
No, I had New England.
Oh, okay.
We both
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I think you had New England, Green Bay. I had New England, Arizona.
Yep. Yeah, I remember.
Although
now. Yep.
I really don't like Arizona right now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati to win and cover. Something's got to give. The offense seems to be kind of clicking. Like you said, Eifert coming back is huge, and Buffalo's a good team though. So I'm not really confident about this pick, but like you said, their games have been close. Cincy, they haven't been winning a lot of games, so you could say they're a bad team. But like you said, they're teams that aren't great, like New England and Dallas. They're playing them very close. So I think that they'll come out and win this game, but it will be close. 4-point
All right.
spread. We'll see, but I think they'll do it.
All right, Cincy. The coin's going with Cincy as well. So let's go to the next game. This is a tough game to pick, in my opinion. Kansas City favored by 7.5 points at home against the visiting Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now Tampa Bay absolutely stonewalled Cutler and the Bears and just tore them a new one. And I look really dumb for making that pick last week.
Yeah, that's one pick that I had, and you certainly did not.
Yeah. And Kansas City looked good in the comeback. I mean, Cam Newton throwing that pick 6 in the fourth quarter put a charge in that team. I mean, Carolina dominated that game for 3 quarters, and then Kansas City came back and won. But I got Kansas City winning and covering here. I just think Kansas City is a very strong team. They know Jamal Charles is out now. He had another knee surgery. So Spencer Ware is going to be in there. They're getting Justin Houston back, which is a big help on their defensive line. And we know that Jameis Winston doesn't travel that well. So I'm going to take Kansas City to win and cover this time.
I am going to go Kansas City to win, but Tampa Bay to cover. I think it's going to be a close game and low scoring, I think. And that doesn't favor Tampa Bay because it seems like they need to score a lot of points to win in most of their games that they won, like against Chicago. I guess they didn't have to score a lot because Chicago didn't score a lot, but
yeah, Chicago.
Let's say when things go well, they seem to go quite well for the Tampa offense. When things don't go well, pretty disastrous. So
yes,
I think this is going to be a close game, but Kansas City is just too good for them to beat. So yeah, Chiefs win, but I think Tampa will keep it close enough to cover the 7.5 spread.
All right, well, I'm just looking. Carolina scored a touchdown in their opening drive. Ted Ginn Jr. with a pass.
All right.
Oh, no, it was a handoff. Oh, it was an end around. Wow, so I don't even get points from the pass for Cam Newton. That's great. But the coin goes Kansas City also, so let's go next game. New York Giants favored by 7 points at home against those aforementioned Bears. The Bears are 0-5 against the spread on the road. They're just a terrible team all around. Cutler, good 1 week, but I think he was good at home. He was coming back. He was energized. And then whenever he gets confidence, his confidence lets him down and he throws picks and fumbles. I got the Giants winning and covering this game. I think the Giants, after 4 straight wins, they're surging. They had that big win, big stand. They ran the ball well against Cincinnati. And Odell Beckham Jr. is playing lights out. If Rashad Jennings does what he did against the Bengals and Manning does not turn the ball over, this team's going to be tough to deal with. And it's going to be tough for Dallas to deal with them because the Giants handed Dallas their only loss this year. So I got the Giants winning and covering the 7 points this week.
I go with the Giants winning and covering 2. It would really suck to see your team lose to the Giants 1 week and then see the Giants lose to the friggin' Bears the next week. So
yeah,
let's not see that happen. I don't think they're the best team in the NFC. I don't think they're anywhere near as good as the best teams in the NFC. But I think they could be a playoff team. They could get in on the wild card because we know Dallas has that division. Wild card's going to be very close. There are quite a few teams fighting for it, but New York's going to be one of those teams for sure when it comes down to the last couple weeks. This is one of those games that they have to win to be there. They're going to take care of business and be there. And if I can't have Cincinnati in the playoffs, then I'm going to be rooting for an Eli Tom Brady Super Bowl. We got to see the 3-lie, fulfill the prophecy. This is the year. I want to see it.
Yeah, I hate Eli and I hate the Giants because what they did to the Packers in the playoffs. So I hope that doesn't happen. But the coin goes Chicago. The coin thinks Cutler is gonna at least cover the spread. But let's go to the next game. Minnesota favored by 0.5 point at home against the visiting Arizona Cardinals. Minnesota is a dumpster fire. Lost their offensive coordinator, basically retired from the team, left, resigned. They've lost 4 straight. They've lost to bad teams. They also lost to good teams. Arizona, they barely beat San Francisco, but San Francisco finally had a healthy, Carlos Hyde last week, Vance McDonald. So they actually had their weapons on offense that were kind of healthy. And I think Arizona read their own press clippings a little bit. It's like, oh, we're 14 points going to be easy. And they were up 14 early, and they kind of let San Francisco come back into the game. I don't think that's going to happen now. I think Bruce Arians has got them galvanized. I think they're going to win in Minnesota fairly easily. I mean, that offensive line is just terrible in Minnesota, so I'm looking forward to many points from my Arizona defense in terms of sacks.
I gotta admit, this feels like a bit of a trap game with that spread of 0.5. They're saying, it should be close. But I'm gonna go Arizona too. But I could totally see Minnesota winning it, just the way that the year has gone for both teams. Sure. Arizona, one of the few teams where it's still really hard to say whether they're actually good or not. I think we just have to forget about last year because they're obviously not that good, but they still had a couple games here and there where they've looked like they can play at that caliber, but we've also seen them just be absolutely terrible. Minnesota, on the other hand, kind of the same story, but in like two halves. The first half where they looked amazing and, undefeated, and then the second half where now they can't win a game. So, yeah, I guess I kind of understand the 0.5 spread then. And even Vegas is like, Jesus, I don't know what's going to happen. So, I like Arizona as a whole team better, even aside from the fact that I picked them in the Super Bowl. That's clearly not going to happen, but I don't think there's a chance Minnesota makes the playoffs at this point. And Arizona, maybe they still do if they win this. So I'm going to go with Arizona to win and cover, obviously.
All right, the coin goes Minnesota. And actually, Ted Ginn Jr. did not make it into the end zone. So Carolina's going to have to settle for a field goal here.
Wow, okay.
As Cam Newton's pass was batted down here on the goal line. So let's go to the next game. LA Rams favored by a point starting Jared Goff for the first time this season against the surging Miami Dolphins, who have won 4 straight and have basically manhandled teams on the offensive front with Jay Ajayi. And LA Rams, Jared Goff, basically it's going to be Miami time. Ndamukong Suh and that Miami defense actually picked up the Miami Dolphins defense in our league just because of this game. And I think it's not going to be close. Goff's going to have a bad start, and it's going to be Miami all the way winning and covering.
I agree with you. And Goff, I really know nothing about Goff. I have nothing against him, and I'm not rooting for him or against him, but as much of the rookie quarterback success that we've seen this year and in recent years, his situation is a bit unique because he hasn't come in and started right away. He's had a little bit of time to, I guess, marinate in the system or whatever, but I don't see it going well, and it's nothing against him. It's just that this is not a good team at all. He doesn't have hardly any weapons at all. Gurley, I'm assuming most of his lack of production is a mix of crappy play calling and crappy O-line because he's a very good running back.
Yep, and Jeff Fisher just being a defensive-minded coach.
Exactly. So I don't see a situation where they win this game against Miami because, like you said, their defense is on point. Cameron Wake is a monster. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami. They've earned my respect for sure because I was not believing in them the first half of the games they played so far. They looked really bad, but like you said, they're really coming on at this point in the year. So I'll take them in a winning cover in a big fashion. Yeah. And the coin goes LA. I mean, once they started running the ball and took the ball out of Tannehill's hands, they became a better team because Tannehill's not that good. Yeah, exactly. I still don't. That's the reason I didn't believe him before. Is Tannehill just was not getting it done. But you get a guy like Ajayi, and all of a sudden you can win games. So.
Yep. Well, let me give you an update on Carolina. Oh my God. So they kicked the field goal, and the Saints roughed the kicker, and now. But Cam Newton just got sacked again. So they took the points off the board, and Carolina still has the ball in the red zone.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
crazy. But let's go to the next game. San Francisco at home, underdogs to New England by 14 points for obvious reasons. Gronk will not play. He's got a perforation in his lung. So you're gonna assume it's gonna be Martellus Bennett time. And Julian Edelman, I think, is gonna have a big game this game. And after New England's loss at home to Seattle, I think they're going to come back with fiery vengeance against San Francisco. And Wow, I don't know where that throw was going, right out of the end zone. I got New England winning and covering. I think Tom Brady returning home to California is just going to show Colin Kaepernick how to actually be a quarterback in this league and just torch San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm going to take New England to win and cover too. They're going to do what the Cardinals failed to do last week and actually cover that 14-point spread. So, yeah, the Patriots last week showed that they are mortal, beatable. I guess part of the game plan is hit them hard like we saw them do to Gronk. I guess that's how you get under their skin. I don't know. Brady was not quite himself.
I mean, one pick and no touchdowns. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think he was averaging a QBR of 130 plus this year. So that game, I'm sure he didn't have over 100. So big statement for the Seahawks. But thankfully for the Patriots, they get a week against the 49ers, which is pretty much like a week against the Browns, which is pretty much like a bye week. So hopefully they can cover the 14-point spread, and I think they will.
Yep, and the coin does agree with that sentiment also. So let's go to the next game. Seattle at home fared by 6 points against Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Philadelphia played a great game against a good offense last week. It seems like Doug Peterson has Dan Quinn figured out. He actually was with the Chiefs 2 years ago and beat Seattle in Seattle with a power running game, and that's basically what Philly did last week to Atlanta. It was very impressive because we know Atlanta's a very high, potent offense. Seattle obviously going to New England. They're coming back home, favored by 6 points. I don't think it's too much, and I've waffled on this game a lot. I mean, Philly plays good. If they play the ground and pound, I think they can keep it close. So I think I'm going to go Philly to cover the spread, but Seattle to win. I think 6 points is a little much. I think Doug Peterson knows how to play against Seattle, and he knows how to play against a physical defense with running the ball, with Sproles and getting short catches, getting them out of the backfield, and using the speed against Seattle. So I got Philly just covering, but Seattle's still going to win it.
Well, it's interesting what you said about Doug Peterson. I did not know that. Sounds like you've done your research.
No, I was listening to sports radio today, and they were talking about that.
Okay, so somebody else has done their research.
Yes, it wasn't me. I don't have time to do all that stuff, unfortunately.
Well, that's really interesting, and I could definitely see that happening. But I'm right now I'm too impressed with how they played against the Patriots. So I'm going to stick with Seattle, win and cover. And yes, respect to the Eagles for what they did to Atlanta, but Seattle is a different team. They're not the high octane offense that Atlanta is, but they are a much more stout defense. So different outlook for this matchup, and I think that the Seahawks, I think they've got the coaching, they got the talent that they'll be able to prepare for this game this week, and I think they'll be able to cover the 6 point spread.
Very nice. The coin agrees with you. So let's go to Sunday Night Football. My Green Bay Packers, and Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the team are going to Washington to face Washington Redskins. Now, they destroyed Washington in a playoff game last year. They ran the ball over them. They ran in 3 touchdowns at 180 yards on the ground.
Well, they're not running over anyone this year.
And that's my point. If they had a running game, I would pick Green Bay in a heartbeat because Washington's run defense is not good. They have not improved in that front, but they have improved in the defensive backfield with Josh Norman. I'm going to pick Washington to win and cover. I just don't have any faith in Green Bay. They just don't have any urgency, any will or desire to just get out there and win a game with physicality, with smart, and just playing a unique brand of football. It's the same cookie cutter defense every week, and it's the same cookie cutter plays that McCarthy uses. So I got Washington. I hate to say it, but they're going to win and cover at home.
What's the spread?
3.
Okay, just 3. I'm going to take Washington and win and cover 2. I would like to say I think it's going to be a close game, but Green Bay, they seem to have similar problems that the Bengals do. I would have to say that their defense, both of those teams, they're soft, and it's not working. And at least the Bengals have some semblance of a running game. At least they have talented guys that they can use, short passes, dumping it over the backfield, etc. They've got Eifert. The Packers have none of that. Rodgers is probably a better quarterback than Dalton, but like things are just not working with this offense or the defense. So
No.
like it's hard to favor them against a team that's been winning lately in Washington, and they're in a more competitive division than the Packers are. So I'm gonna go with Washington to win and cover this week. We'll see what happens, but if they lose this game, it's hard to see the Packers making the playoffs.
Yes, I would have to agree. All right, so let's the coin picks Washington also. So let's move on to the Monday night game. Oakland at home fared by 6 points against the visiting Houston Texans. Now, I don't know how Houston won their last game with Brock Osweiler throwing for a total of 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I have DeAndre Hopkins in a few leagues, and boy, he has been not that good. But I mean, I think this is going to be a higher scoring game by both teams. I still think Oakland's going to win by a touchdown. Derek Carr is just on another level this year. That defense is not that good, but the offense all around is just clicking. And I think they got the second best O-line in the league. Carr has not been sacked that much, and Latavius Murray, what he did against Denver shows how good that O-line is against that defensive front of Denver. So I got Oakland winning and covering the 6 points on Monday night.
I've got Oakland winning and covering too, but I don't really see it as a shootout like you do. I can't see Houston putting up that much points, honestly. Lamar Miller playing good this year, but like you said, Hopkins is such a good receiver, and if he's not able to put up yardage, a lot of that has to go to the quarterback and maybe the O-line just not giving enough time for him to run the routes that he'd usually run. That stuff takes time to develop. Yeah. So, but if he's not putting up big numbers, I think that just shows a big issue in your offense overall. So Oakland's just too good a team. I can't see them not covering this game. So yeah.
Very nice. All right, so we have our picks in. So good luck Fitz, good luck Coin, good luck me. Hopefully we do a little bit better than we did last week, where we combined for 14 out of 42 games, all three of us. So
oh god.
Yeah, leave your picks below. See if you can beat us. See if you can dominate this week. And also like the video, comment, and subscribe for more NFL picks. And we'll see you next week for more pick 'em against the spread and straight up. Take care. Fitz, anything else?